wash them away. Gonna take my worries to the water and wash them away. You know that cool, cool water's gonna soothe my soul. Cool, cool water's gonna make me whole. Take my worries to the water and wash them away.
Alright, the nice thing about the Tierra Sovereign is it gives you these 3 panels. There's one closed, and actually the Wi-Fi extender cable is under that one, and it gave me access to be able to drill a hole in the hardtop, mount the Wi-Fi extender antenna. I'll show you that once I get outside. But back to the wiring. Like I said, those screws come out, and that panel will allow you access to wiring and anything on the hardtop. This is the center panel, and you can see the 4 bolts there. It has an Edison mount, which allows for flags. I've got a 72-mile open array radar, masthead light up there. The white cable is the radar cable. But the nice thing about that Edison mount is it gives you another access point through the mount, which you can't see in there, but you can see these 2 black cables. One's a positive, one's a negative, from the solar panels. And I've routed them with the other cables through the other access. They actually go through this area. You can pull this Tierra cover off. There's a panel there, and you can access you know, everything through the hardtop access. Then I came in, I removed the cockpit refrigerator, which I probably should have gotten a picture while that was out, but I'll show you another angle of it. And got the cabling all set up. And now, once I get everything buttoned up in here, I'll open the engine access, go in, and you know, start pulling cables and mounting my controller, fuses, and battery terminals. All right, this is the interior of the boat and the distribution panel for both AC and DC. Just to the left of that, if you recall, last week I mounted the 3-tank outside monitoring system, and just to the left of that, and I drilled a hole on the back side of this one. This is the solar panel monitoring system. This is the Wi-Fi router for the Wi-Fi extender. So this is just, I just had the power disconnected to it, but yeah, these are all tucked away in a little area where we keep koozies, but we'll be able to stay kind of in this area and monitor everything on the boat, whether it's solar, Wi-Fi, tanks, radio, AC, and then the AC/DC panel. Alright, yeah, it came out nice. I kind of like that. Let me give you a wide angle so you can see it. Basically, there's everything in those 3 cabinets, which of course can be closed and isolated from the living space. Alright, this is the mid-berth. It's normally lit up a little more, but you can see I have this panel down. 2 of the overhead lights are disconnected, and you can see the cabling down there. But this basically gives you access under the helm seat, and provides access to the back side of the panel that I just showed you. And I'll just kind of come up in here and give you a look at that. This is one of the gunnels, and you can see I've got some wiring down there, which I'll tidy up. This is actually the access from the arch or the hardtop. That is the back side of the box, and I'll tidy that up, but there's a hole there that allows us access. And then you know, basically further down is the VHF radio distribution panel to allow us power. So quite an interesting little way to get in here, but yeah, lots of additional storage and if you wanted it. But next is at the far end of that, you can see the wood panel down there. On the other side of that is actually the engine room. So I've got some items run on that side, and we'll finish off in the engine room getting things connected to the batteries. And we'll go from there. Alright, we've got one battery bank done. This breaker to the right is coming in from the solar panels. That's on the positive. I've got a little wiring tie up to do there. The gray wire, flat wire, that's to the monitoring system in the cabin that I showed you earlier. These other two, one is the positive to the house batteries and the negative. And I have one more bank to hook up, but they gave me 8 feet of cabling, and I could force it and make that work, but I'm not real comfortable with that, so I'm gonna go and get 10 to 12 feet of cabling. They say a max of 10 feet, and it really, the run it to the house batteries is about 10 feet, but you know, I just don't want to. I don't want to pull the 8-foot cables, so I'll get duplicate 10 to 12 foot cables. But the house batteries, I ran the cabling down. I have tie downs along this path right here, and here's my 5 house batteries. And the previous owner put these batteries in prior to us purchasing the boat, and as I'm sure you can tell, they're size 31 batteries, but they're cranking batteries versus you know, a deep cycle battery. So you know, I'll run these for you know, their lifespan. I don't want to change them out when they're still good. But when we do replace the battery bank here, we'll either go to you know, a gel or an AGM deep cycle, or maybe a lithium. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out. But back up to the controller. Again, it's mounted on the back wall. The starting batteries would have to travel a path down here next to the generator on that board. I'd tie them down on that board. They would come across, and under this step right here is where 3 cranking batteries, one for the generator and you know, the other 2 for each engine. But right under the front here I can tie in, but again, it's just really pulling the cables tight to do an 8-foot run there. Really, it's about a 9 to 10 foot run, and tucking everything away so it's out of sight and you know, not just pulled tight across there. Alright, now on to the solar panels on the roof. Get those going, and we can at least work the first bank, and I'll get the cables for the second bank and get that all set up. Alright, one of my last things I've installed on the boat that I see as a necessity is a freezer. Currently, we have this is a freezer, which is good for ice trays and some, you know, maybe a couple of days of frozen food. But we've added a deep freeze and we placed it below the deck right here in this hatch. This is a winter deep freeze. It's a fridge or freezer. It also runs on 12 volt or 110. And it's smart too, because it will actually tell you if the AC goes out, it'll just automatically switch to DC. When the DC comes back on, it'll when the AC comes back on, it'll switch off DC back to AC. What I've done is I've actually attacked an electrical outlet right here, and I just tapped into one of the other outlets and put this outlet in the bilge area. This is a dry space, so it's fine. I've also run 12 volt, and you can see that red and black wire. I actually have a 12 volt connection in the next area of the hull. But basically, this will give us a deep freeze and good storage. It's got two baskets, the one deep basket there, and then a shallower basket, and the shallower just because the compressor's into that area. I actually just turned it on. So I'm going to work it down to about -5 degrees, and we'll use it as a freezer. And just the digital information is on the side, but based on where I have it set up, I just put a little manual analog type temperature gauge in there so I could easily open the door and see that. Again, that is a Winter brand deep freeze. This is the slimline version, and you can see I basically needed to do that to get it in this space. It's a pretty tight space. Got a water heater. We have storage of our small oven. There's some legs in here that are stored for the tables, and then shelves on both sides. But again, good spot for us, and we won't be in there every day, but it allows us to have storage under the decking and hidden away. All right.
I didn't get it.